is number 20 Duke at number 18 Louisville, 3:30 p.m. on ESPN. The biggest storyline is pretty simple. Will Riley Leonard be able to go? The star quarterback for Duke last week, he missed the NC State game with an ankle injury that he suffered against Notre Dame. Shocked everyone. It came out before that, literally that morning, that Riley Leonard was doubtful for the game against Florida State. He shocked everyone when he played against Florida State. But in the third quarter, he had a nasty sack where he got, his face mask got tugged down. He re-injured that ankle, was out for the rest of the game. So the big question now is, okay, can he play again? Can he play again in another ranked game against Louisville, another ranked road game against Louisville? If not, Henry Billin IV will be the starting quarterback. The redshirt freshman right now has more turnover-worthy plays, too, than big-time throws this season. He's been solid, but he's definitely not the first-round prospect that Riley Leonard is. So I think ultimately, Dalton, the Duke's chances in this game for a road win pretty much hinge on whether or not Riley Leonard will be able to go, just like it was last week.
Yeah, the injuries are a problem, and they're a problem for Louisville, too. Jawar Jordan only played 8 snaps last week in the first quarter before leaving with a hamstring injury. So there's injury bugs on both sides right now. I have issues even with Riley Leonard in there. I have issues right now with Duke's offense. It's especially over the last 3 weeks. Look, offensively, they've put up, I believe it's 14, 24, and 13 points on offense. Their defense is carrying a load right now that I'm not sure they can carry much further. Let me give you the last 3 weeks of the 2 Duke quarterbacks combined. Leonard was in here for a little over half of this, right? 24 for 61, 317 yards, 1 big-time throw, 5 turnover-worthy plays. This is with Riley Leonard's played about 7 of those 12 quarters. Okay, this passing game is not getting it done, and I know. And look, I like Riley Leonard. He's a great kid. Every time I hear him talk, he's a great kid. He's a wicked athlete. But their passing game he has 3 passing touchdowns.
Yeah,
Henry Billin has 3 passing touchdowns. They just don't do much in the passing game. They win with defense. They win with running. They have 197 rushing yards in 6 of their 7 games. They win ugly. I don't think it's that different than the way that Utah wins. I think Duke's a little bit better. I think their secondary's elite. Personally, and I know Clemson people are going to have an argument about this, I think Duke has the best defense in the ACC.
Yeah, it's up there.
For the load that they have to carry, I don't think it gets talked about enough that this Duke passing game just isn't there. With Leonard, even when he was healthy, it was hard to tell because they were playing UConn and Northwestern and teams like that, but it's just not good. Since week 5, the last 4 weeks, they have the 3rd worst passing grade in the country. It's so hard for a defense to overcome that. Obviously, you play a team like Florida State who can score on a good defense, right? We saw what this Louisville team did to Notre Dame. They put up points on Notre Dame when they were healthy. Jordan was healthy. Plummer played one of the best games of his life. This Duke offense, I'm worried, regardless of the quarterback, that there is a week where it's going to really bottom out. And to be honest with you, Florida State got the better of them. Florida State's really good, and it's in Tallahassee. They only put up 13 points on offense. Maybe the process has already started, but I'm worried about Duke and just the sheer lack of explosiveness through the air in this offense.
Yeah, that's completely fair. And I think you brought up another good point where Jawar Jordan is kind of the big question mark for Louisville right now, whereas Riley Leonard, obviously is the big question mark for whether Duke can win. If Jawar Jordan is not be able to go, man, that is a major blow to Louisville offense. You see right there, he's 3rd in the FBS in yards per carry, 7.4. He actually leads the country in yards before contact per attempt with 3.6. Now, a lot of that, usually the yards before contact stat, a lot of it has to do with the offensive line. But in Jawar Jordan's case, Louisville's run blocking has been kind of average, honestly, or even below average this season. So I think for him, he's not a big running back. He's 185 pounds. The reason why his yards before contact stat is so up there, he has great vision. He's elite speed, elite burst. Guys don't get hands on him. That's why he's able to get so many yards before contact. When you get a hand on him, he's easy to tackle. He's easy to bring down because he's only 185 pounds. But he is not easy to get your hands on, man, with how quick and agile and explosive he is. And you saw, too, on that graphic, Duke right now, one of their biggest problems on defense, and I agree with you, that the coverage unit has been fantastic. So this is why I think there's a lot on Jawar Jordan's shoulders in this game. The problem with Duke's defense, they're 97th in the country in run defense grade right now, allowing about 4.6 yards per attempt. So that's kind of the kryptonite for Duke's defense. And again, if Riley Leonard's not able to go, Duke's going to have a lot of trouble winning this game. But if Jawar Jordan's not able to go, I really struggle to see how Louisville will be able to do anything offensively without their star running back in there, because he led them to victory in that Notre Dame game, and I think they're going to need him to lead them to victory again in this Duke game.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a very, very hard team to just drop. Even Florida State learned this. It's a hard team to drop back and throw against. Yeah. They play a lot of man coverage. Their secondary's wicked. You don't want to get into a drop back game. And Jack Plummer, to be honest with you, you don't want him in a drop back game anyway. There's some gunslinging kind of mentality there. I believe he's got 10 turnover-worthy plays on the year. There's times where he can make every throw on the field, and there's other times there's decisions that you really, really question. This is going to be for Louisville. They need Jordan healthy. Last week, they running for only 80 yards really killed them. That's really, there's two reasons they lost that game, and I'll get into the second one in the prediction. But running the ball for only 80 yards killed them against Pitt. This is a team that does need balance, and especially against Duke, you absolutely do not want to be in a drop-back situation. This Duke secondary is an elite unit. It's the best unit on their team. I would say it's probably one of the 5 or 6 best secondaries in the country. Yeah, they are spectacular, and they gave Florida State a lot of problems early on. They really did. I think Travis found the mobility late in the game. They found some play action. They started moving a little bit. And honestly, with the way Duke's offense is playing, their defense is starting to wear down late in these games. I think you saw it against Notre Dame, too, to be honest with you. Louisville does not want to be dropped. They really need Jordan in this game. I'm not sure who else they can find a running game with, because last week against Pitt, it was a real struggle.
Yeah, absolutely. So ultimately, Dalton, who are you going with in this game? And honestly, this game has pretty massive implications for who makes the ACC championship. I saw Kelly Ford, who's a fantastic analytical work on Twitter, to follow him if you want. But he had the percentages in this game, and basically the winner of this game is the new favorite to join Florida State in the ACC championship game, whereas the loser basically has no shot. So the winner of this game, basically them and North Carolina, has the best chance. Loser is basically out of it. So who ultimately do you think takes over as the new favorite to join Florida State in the ACC championship game? So I mentioned the run game last week against Pitt. And to be honest with you, that was the second biggest reason they lost that game. And obviously losing by 17 to Pitt is inexcusable. You don't want that, right? Especially if you're supposed to be top 20 and you have ACC title hopes and all this. But the big reason they lost that game was they lost the turnover battle 3-0. Mm-hmm. And all 3 turnovers were inside the Pitt 25-yard line. Okay, Louisville is probably they outgained them 450 to about 290. Plummer threw for about 360. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't great. The 2 interceptions weren't good, especially the first one was not good. But they're going to watch that tape feeling like, wow, we really had a million opportunities to win that game, and every time we got in the red zone or down in there, we just dropped the ball, man. I mean, it just can't. It's hard to win a game when you lose the turnover battle 3-0. Yeah,
I have real issues with Duke's offense. I think the cracks have been showing. I'm worried there's a game in Louisville. Look, Louisville right now, those people, they know their team is good. That's a really fun environment. We saw it against Notre Dame. They were charged up against Notre Dame, and then they were careless. They were sloppy against Pitt. Plummer's got some gunslinger, but as a team, they haven't shown to be that sloppy consistently yet. I think if Leonard doesn't play, honestly, I don't think Duke has a shot. I just don't think Balin I don't think he can go in there and win a game like this. And even for Leonard on a bad ankle, we talked about, look, you can clearly see it last week. The mobility wasn't all there. 75%. It just wasn't. A couple of good runs, but Leonard needs the mobility to succeed anyway. I think there's more scenarios here for Louisville to win, and it's gonna still be ugly. It's gonna be defensive. I'll take Louisville 24-17. And I could definitely see Duke scoring less points than that because Louisville's defense isn't bad either. There's not a ton of depth. They need to see if Jarvis Brownlee's playing at corner. They just, Ashton Gelati with the pass rush going to be big time too. I just see a few more scenarios, especially if Jordan is going to play, where Louisville wins this game. I think Duke on the road is going to need just another superhuman effort from their defense. And I don't know that it's going to be enough to overcome it.
Yeah, that's fair. We're going to disagree on this one. I think it might be the only game that we disagree on this one. I got Duke 24-23. I was really impressed by Duke last week. Now, of course, the 18-point loss doesn't look that great, but this is kind of like the LSU loss when Florida State took down LSU, where they just went on a tear in the fourth quarter and made it look a lot more lopsided than it actually was. Duke had a lead in this game in the second quarter, and then really Florida State after that just completely took over the game. But Duke really had Florida State on the ropes in that game. I don't know if Louisville is capable of doing that, honestly. Now, I know they beat Notre Dame, of course, but that, I think, was a lot to do with Notre Dame just being gassed. I think Duke's a very quality team. I think there's a chance Riley Leonard plays. I have no intel on that. But if he played against Florida State, he re-injured the ankle. He was warming up on the sideline. He was begging Mike Elko to go in the game. I think there's a chance he does play in this one as well. And if he does play, I feel really good about this pick. But even if he doesn't, man, I think if Jawar Jordan is hobbled a little bit, I really, really struggle to see how Louisville can do anything offensively without Jawar Jordan or even hobbled.
You know where that game turned last week was right when Leonard got hurt and they were down there on about the 5 or 6 yard line, and Balin came in, called off the bench, and then they went for it.
Yep.
They were up 3. They were up, I believe it was 20-17.
Yep.
They were up 3, and they I think they ran the ball on third down, and then they let Balin go for it on 4th and 3 or so from like the 6. The type of game they were playing, it's a problem to me. I go, why, if you're clearly playing this defensive, physical game and you're winning it, why go for the kill there with your backup quarterback? That's where the game turned. I think there was about 3 or 4 minutes left in the third quarter. That one decision to me turned it upside down, because you could have easily been up 6 and just kept playing defense. And I don't know why they trusted Balin in that spot. I think Duke if they're going to win, they need to play their style of ball, and that has to roll into the decision making with things like that. I was not a fan of that at all.
No, dude, I think we even texted about how much we disagreed with that call, and right after that, I mean, you think about it, like usually when you go for it with that close to the end zone, you think, okay, best case, obviously we score a touchdown here. Worst case, they get the ball on the 5 yard line, they go 3 and out, whatever, and then they punt back to us. We have another chance to score. Florida State went on a 96-yard touchdown drive after that. They got all the momentum. All the momentum that Duke had was gone after that. And I agree with you, man. I mean, when you have a backup quarterback you just thrust in there for his second play of the game and you're making him throw the ball on fourth and goal, that is a big problem. So I hated that play call too. And then right after that, Florida State scored the touchdown to take the lead, and then Duke was playing catch up after that, which is not something you want to be doing with Henry Beelan, a quarterback. So I agree with you, man. I think that was a turning point of the game where Duke had all the momentum. They could have gone out by 6, and then Florida State would still be playing catch-up. Instead, Florida State makes a big stop on defense, goes 96 yards, and scores a touchdown to take the lead, and then never give the lead after that. I think that was the big turning point of the game, absolutely. So I got Duke in this one. I think they're going to bounce back. I think they're going to take down Louisville, too. I think that they're going to beat Louisville on the road, and it'll be a really, really good game, honestly.